Hello everyone, welcome to AWS She Builds Global Summit. I'm very excited to be here today speaking alongside other wonderful women doing amazing work in the technology industry. My name is Olive and I am a pre-sales engineer at Hewlett Packard Enterprise. So what I do is I design on-premises server infrastructure for enterprise accounts in Nigeria and some parts of Africa. I've also worked in management consulting where I served as a research associate in CSR and sustainability projects. I'm the founder of Growth Plan. Growth Plan is a social enterprise that mentors and teaches Nigerian young graduates on workplace skills, soft skills needed in the workplace, and how to transition from studentship to corporate jobs. Today I'll be talking about a topic that I am very passionate about. I'll be talking about women and I'll be talking about gender inclusive strategies for retaining women in the technology industry. I really hope you enjoy this presentation and I'm looking forward to hearing back from you once I'm done with this. Stick around, thank you. When I started my job as an engineer, I used to have a lot of client meetups in both my business partners and my customers, and I realized that I was usually the only woman seated at the table. I'm sure you can see in this picture what it looks like to be the only woman seated at a table in the midst of men, and this is because the retention rate of women in the industry is incredibly low, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who has faced this. Women engineers all over the world, out of 10 engineers in a company or in an industry, you would usually see just like 1 or 2 women. Just a little disclaimer, when I mean women, I mean women and everyone affected by misogyny or other women-related issues. Next up, let's look at a bit of statistics here. So we have more women than men leaving technology jobs. So in comparison to our male colleagues, more women leave tech jobs at a 2x rate. According to this research, 24% of these women move to non-STEM jobs, 22 become self-employed, and 20 take time out of the workforce. And this statistics hurts the economy, it hurts companies, it hurts their families, and there should be ways we as a people should endeavor to retain and keep women in their technology jobs. This landscape just shows how women move into the technology industry, and the discrimination in each of these stages is the reason why there are just a few women in the technology industry. So right from school, I studied computer engineering, and out of 100 students, I was one woman out of 4 other women. And so you imagine a class of over 100 people and there's just 4 of you. So by the time you're graduating and you're moving into the workplace, it's just 4 people graduating, 4 women moving into the technology workplace. And then when you get to the workplace, a lot of women drop for a lot of reasons. They drop their technology jobs, they move on to maybe simpler occupations, or occupations in which where they are much more appreciated, where they are much more acknowledged than the technology industry. And so when you look at the leadership positions in the technology industry, there's just a few women representing leadership. So I went on to a Reddit group to look at some of the common reasons why women leave their technology jobs. And this first person says a male friend who was hired for the same job as me was making more money, and so there's a gender pay gap when we speak of the technology industry. And then this second person says she worked with men who complimented her body, who complimented her eating habits, her professional experience, and there's just a huge sexism going on in these industries where you have one woman out of a lot of men. The third person talks about workplace culture, how the workplace culture wasn't habitable enough for her to stay, and the other person who was promoted discovered that the man reporting to her made 20% more than she did, even when they did the same exact job. And so I try to categorize these common reasons, and what you get from looking at all the reasons together is that the technology workplaces are non-inclusive for women. And so you look at gender pay gap, look at workplace sexism and subordinate bias, and look at lack of support from management. The common theme from these three reasons is non-inclusive workplaces. When we talk about gender pay gap, we understand that men and women are are paid different wages, even though they do the same work, even though that they perform the same tasks, and even in some cases, women are paid less than men who they manage. And I find it quite absurd that we even have to discuss that women and men should be paid equal wages, regardless of their work, regardless of what they do, regardless of their responsibilities. And this is one of the commonest reasons why women leave their jobs in tech. So we also talk about workplace sexism and subordinate bias, which is very prevalent in the industry due to the imbalance in gender diversity. There's a lot of sexism. Women are undermined, women are sidelined for no other reason than the fact that they are women. This is one of the most common reasons which women highlight from my personal discussions with other women who work in tech, and from my little research on Reddit. And another reason is lack of support for management, and this is what I'll call women also being discriminated against and sidelined by management. And so if there are few women in an organization, and then the management takes it upon themselves to not even acknowledge and advocate for these women, it makes them just want to drop their jobs and just move on to better places where they are acknowledged. And so these three common reasons constitute a non-inclusive workplace, and I really hope that in the future people, management teams make decisions that factor in women and what they want, and this will help retain women in tech, and in the process transform the economy. And so who is responsible for ensuring that women are safe in their workplace, ensuring that women stay longer in the workplaces, in technology workplaces? So on the ground level, everyone, you and I, women and allies at all levels in corporate, are responsible. Taking the lead, we talk about the leadership, we talk about team leads, we talk about line managers, we talk about senior managers. They are also responsible. And then gender-centered hiring, which is one of the most important. We have management teams, CEOs, human resources management, talent managers, who are also responsible for keeping women in the technology jobs. Now let's look at a breakdown of some of the actions we can take as a people in whatever level you identify yourself in. On the ground level, we should try to amplify women's voices. So take into consideration what women have to say about situations in the office. We should have an equality mindset. When you're thinking of job roles, thinking of tasks, thinking of responsibilities, thinking of having a position in the workplace, we should have an equality mindset. What a man can do, a woman can also do. Okay, we should also try to use inclusive languages. Instead of saying husband, wife, we should try to use spouse. Instead of saying she, him, her, use them, use they. Instead of emphasizing on men and women, use everyone. Okay, so inclusive language is very, very important and is key in ensuring that women feel safe in their workplaces, and in return this will help retain women in the workforce. Next up, we'll talk briefly on the leadership level, and this is for line managers, this is for team leads. So we should endeavor to send reinforcements to women we work with, acknowledge their work, right? We have to give them the same tasks you will give men, give them difficult tasks. Yes, so let them know that their input is important in the teams, their input is important in the department. We should also invite feedback. hear from women, understand their perspective, also share the spotlight. A lot of team leads and a lot of line managers can also try to highlight women in their teams. You know, you can try to highlight their contributions to the team, acknowledge them in meetings, and those sort of reinforcements can help women. It makes them understand that their input is actually needed in the workplace, and this can help to retain women in the workforce. Next up, we'll talk about gender-centered hiring, and this is management teams. First of all, this is something a lot of companies are beginning to do right now. Set a metric. When you are hiring for a certain role, let's say for example you need about 6 people, you should set a metric and say, okay, we are going to find 3 women and we're going to find 3 men. This way it encourages gender balance in the workplace, and everyone is appropriately represented. Also, refine parental policies, and this will help women to take an equal responsibility of the job when it comes to running the home. And so if you're giving maternity leaves, try to give paternity leaves also. I think this is becoming very popular in a lot of workplaces. A lot of workplaces are incorporating paternity leaves so that women do not feel alone. They do not feel like they are leaving their jobs just to take care of their homes. Also, reviewing hiring practices, put women in consideration when hiring, which is quite similar to the certain metric point which I mentioned. I'll be rounding up with a message from one of the most inspiring women I know, Hillary Clinton, who is an American politician, diplomat, lawyer, and writer. Very inspiring woman. So this note says, it is past time for women to take their rightful place side by side with men, and in the rooms where the fates of people, where their children and grandchildren's fates are decided. And so it's important for us as women, everyone on this call, everyone listening to me right now, take your rightful place, stand your ground, let your voice be heard, so that when decisions are being made for you and for the people coming after you, your input can be recorded, and that way it encourages a very gender fluid decisions. Gender fluid decisions are made. Gender fluid policies are incorporated both in the companies and worldwide. Thank you very, very much for joining my session. If you have any comments, if you have any questions, whatever it is you like to write to me, you can always put it in the chat box and let me know what you think. Let me know if there's something you'd like to add, if there's any clarifications. Thank you very much, and do have a lovely day ahead.